Do this with me. Calm your head, your heart, and your hands as you slowly breathe in and out.
Let's enter God's story together. Here's the story symbol for the part of God's story that we'll be spending time in today. I wonder what clues it gives us about the story we're about to hear. Listen closely as we read the story together to see which story our symbol represents. John 21, verse 1. Jesus and the miraculous catch of fish. Afterwards, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Galilee. It happened this way. After Jesus died and rose again, he appeared sometimes to the disciples when they didn't expect him. One night, Peter decided to go fishing, and some of the others joined him. But they fished all night and didn't catch anything. Not even one itty-bitty little fish. I wonder how they were feeling by the time the sun came up. If you had been there, what words would you have used to describe your feelings? About the time they were ready to quit, the disciples noticed somebody standing on the beach. They didn't recognize him, but they noticed him watching. The stranger called, "Have you caught any fish?" In tired voices, they called back, "No!" The stranger said, "Throw your nets on the right side of the boat, and you will find some." Some of the disciples were very good fishermen, but this stranger was telling them how to catch fish. Now it's time to stretch your thinking. If you had been a disciple on the boat that long night, I wonder what you would have thought if a stranger was telling you how to fish. The disciples did what the stranger told them to do. Immediately, there was a fish frenzy. In a nanosecond, there were so many fish that the net couldn't hold them all. In fact, the net was so heavy that they couldn't haul it in. Then John knew who the stranger was and called out, "It's the Lord!" When Peter heard that it was Jesus, he jumped into the water and headed toward shore. The other disciples began rowing as fast as they could. dragging the bulging net behind them. When they arrived on shore, they noticed a fire burning with fish already cooking over it. There was bread too. It must have looked and smelled so good to those tired fishermen. Peter dragged that big old net full of fish to the shore. He counted the fish. 153. And there was another surprise too. As full as the net was, it didn't rip. Not even one hole in it. Amazing! Jesus invited the disciples to have breakfast with him. When they finished eating, Jesus said to Peter, "Peter, do you love me more than this?" Peter answered quickly. It seemed like an easy question. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Here's something to think about. What do you think Jesus meant by that? Jesus asked Peter a second question. "Peter, do you love me?" Peter answered a second time, but I wonder if he answered as quickly this time, since it was the same question. Peter said, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." And then Jesus asked Peter a third question. "Peter, do you love me?" Let's make a face. Make the face of how Peter looked when Jesus asked him the very same question 3 times. Peter answered again, the third time. "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." Peter's feelings were hurt because Jesus had asked him the question 3 times. Maybe he wondered if Jesus didn't believe him. Did Jesus not trust him? Why did Jesus have to ask him 3 times? On that sad night before Jesus died, how many times did Peter say he never knew Jesus? How many times did Jesus ask Peter if he loved him? Here's some faith builder questions. Why do you think Jesus did that? What did Jesus want Peter to do? Feed real sheep or something else? Now it's your turn to respond to the story. Select and do one or more of the response activities from God's Big Story card number 137, or check out 5 ways to retell a Bible story with kids for some fun ways to retell this story. For an easy extra this week, make a placemat. Using construction paper, have each person create a placemat. Remind them of the great catch of fish in today's story. For anyone who needs some ideas, suggest the following: a border of different kinds and shapes of fish, a picture of the net filled with fish, or a collage of the things that Jesus and the disciples ate for breakfast. To finish off your placemat, write a message from today's story, such as, "Feed my sheep."
Please pray with me. Dear Jesus, thank you for your word, the Bible. Thank you for giving the disciples the miracle of the net full of fish. Thank you for showing Peter that you really loved him and forgave him. You loved him so much that you gave him a huge, important job to do. Take care of your people. Help us to find ways to take care of others too. Amen.
That's it for this week. Have fun shining at home. We'll see you later.